Behind the Shades.
I am Margo L. I am from Chicago, and I am a fitness, femininity, and voice coach. That's the short of it. Basically, a life transformation coach because you got to start here before you start out here. And you can find me on Instagram at Complete Package Coaching. My website is completepackagecoaching.com. And also my YouTube channel, Margarita the Perfumista.
So take us right from the genesis. How did you get started doing this and why?
So what's interesting is I started as a performance coach back in 1997. People wanted me to give them voice lessons. I'm a singer, first and foremost, singer and songwriter, and people liked what they heard and they wanted me to teach them. So I was actually a child when I started my coaching company in 97. And what happened was it ballooned beyond what I could have imagined. I started training people for major events. I've coached people who were contestants in Miss Black USA, people on American Idol, The Voice, Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, like big shows, and also people who are doing more local things. I don't have a preference of, big shows versus smaller events. If you want to improve your performance, I'm here for you. And what I noticed in a lot of my female clients were that they could sing and they can dance, but they had no poise. They had no likability, no way to really engage and interact. And what people don't understand is that when you're a performer, people have to like you. People like a lot of people who honestly suck talent wise, but because they're likable or relatable, they have fans. So I was like, well, we need to offer more than just voice and stage coaching. People need to know how to interact in the real world and with clients or in relationships. And so it kind of started from there. It ballooned from there. And then people started asking me for more life coaching and what's going wrong with this and what's going wrong with that. Why am I failing in my relationships? Why can't I find the right person? Because they've seen how my life has changed over the years. I used to be someone who was a horrible picker when it came to guys. I would pick everybody but the right person. Now, fast forward today, I've been happily married for over 15 years. And so people who have seen my transformation, both physically, mentally, and when the results I'm getting in life, they want to know why and they want to know how. And so I added that as a service. So now I offer femininity coaching and relationship coaching. So it just started from the music into, oh, you need to be more than this and that, which is why the company is called Complete Package. You have to be a complete package if you want to be successful in life. You can't just be one thing. You have to have all the pieces working together completely as a package.
I want to say, first and foremost, congratulations on that transition and the
Thank you.
expansion of
Thank
that.
you.
One thing I want to say, as you're sharing that, is I 100% agree. When I was in my 20s, I had no idea what I was doing when it came to dating. No idea. Plus, I was broke, so it made it even worse. But what I did realize was I had an idea of what I wanted. I just didn't know how to get what I wanted.
Mhm.
And some of the clients that you're working with, is that a struggle that they have where they've designed this life, the end result, but they don't know how to create the path towards that goal?
That coupled with, because I coach women mostly, coupled with some unrealistic expectations. And so there's a lot of the things that it's a lot of, okay, well, I see we can ask for the moon, but if we get a few stars, that's still good. Even though we don't get the moon, it's okay that we still got some stars. We can make a little constellation over here. It's one of those things. So with women versus men, men are more practical. Women are more whimsical. We believe in the purple unicorns. Men are like, that's a horse. Okay, we can get a horse. We're gonna get. And so that's what I think is a big disconnect. So yes, while there are, people need a roadmap, you can't be trying to get to a place that doesn't exist either, if that makes sense.
I absolutely agree because there are some times as I'm older now, I look at some of the women I've been on dates with, and they'll say, I'll share a story. There's one girl I went on a date with, and it was a second date, and we didn't even kiss at this point, right? It was just we had dinner, and she's like, Terrain, I really like you. I'm like, you know what, young lady, I like you too. Like, you're pretty, you're nice, blah blah blah. You even paid half the bill. And and she said, okay, this is my goal for the relationship. I was okay, let me know it. She said, in 6 months, I want to be married. In 9 months, I want to have a kid. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, are we gonna have sex first? Like, I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, to she totally, totally caught me off guard because that's a lot to drop on someone on the second date. And it goes back to your point when you
Absolutely.
said unrealistic expectations. Is it more so the outcome, or is it more so the type of guy where like he has to be 6 feet, six figures, and of course he has to have 6 inches when it comes to the expectations?
It's a resounding yes for everything. Also, the timelines can be unrealistic because we have this proverbial biological clock that seems to be ticking, and men don't have that typically physically. You know, men can have children as long as they're able to be productive. I'll put it that way. Whereas for us, you know, usually after 40, the chances typically diminish. So I do think that we have to understand who we're selling to. I see relationships and dating as clients and customers. I have a huge marketing background. That's like what my day job had been for years. And so we have to understand as women when we're telling men our expectations, especially when the early stages of dating, we have to appeal to our consumer first before we drop in all the hidden fees. You know, let's sell him on the features first before we tell him before we read the fine print. You know, so it's like that. It's like, yeah, you could want to have your child in this time and be in this time, and things could eventually flow. I'll tell you this, me and my husband married after 3 months, so it's possible. It is possible to have a quick timeline, but I think because I was so willing to not put him under all this pressure in the beginning is what made him more willing to move faster with me. I think that's what it was. But when you just do this whole dump on him at the dinner table, and you all haven't even exchanged last names yet, like, you know what? I'm good. Yeah. It's about
To this,
timing. Yeah.
yeah, to this day, I don't even think I knew her last name. I don't even remember her first name now. It's to the point where you know when you have like trauma and you just put it in the closet, you close the door, you lock it, and off it goes. I
Yeah.
think it was probably one of those moments. And you mentioned 3 months, and I've
Yes.
heard that as well from a couple of other people where it's like it's not necessarily the length of time that you know the person, it's the
Mhm.
quality of the time that you know the person. Would you say that is true?
Absolutely. In our dating phase, when I met him, I was actually in a relationship. I met him at my escape place. Let's just say that. And my escape place was we were skating. And so he would be someone who frequented the rink, and he was so polite. And he would make certain little comments that would be so cute as he rolled past. And you know, I was with someone who I should not have been with for several years. And I told him that, you know, I really appreciate the compliments, but I am with someone, even though that relationship was terrible. So a few months went past. He would still always be very respectful, but say some cute little things. And he piqued my interest. I'm like, okay, he's consistent. So once I finally got free of the devil's son who I was with before, I told him, I let him know. I was like, you know, if the offer still stands, I'm amenable to it. And we went out that same day. And we had a great time, and we just let everything flow. And then 3 months later, we're like, yeah, this is gonna work. You know, this
Was there a conversation to understand where you wanted things to go?
there was. I asked him, oddly enough, on the second date, I asked him, what are we going to make of this? Because I will be honest now, because so much time has passed. He had me wrapped around his finger after the first date. I was so smitten. And it was honestly because of what built up to it, because of his consistency, yet respectfulness for my situation, regardless of what it was. He was just always expressing an interest in a very polite and very cute way. So he had my attention because most guys will come up and be very vulgar when they're interested in someone, or they'll just be like, "Oh, well, forget you then." They'll be mean if you say that you're not interested at that time. You know, I've had a guy throw a brick at me once because I told him I had a boyfriend. You know, so I had to like matrix dodge this. And so that helped. And then I asked him what he wanted, and he says, you know, I'll tell you what, let's continue on the path we're on and see where it leads us. And because I really wanted to be with him, and he was someone who I knew was way better than anything I had, and honestly out of my league at the time. I'm like, okay, I was willing to trust and allow him to lead and take that chance, if you will, to see where it went, and it led right to forever. So I have no regrets about not putting him under these constraints.
That is so beautiful. And that's a lesson for all of us who are looking to find love in all the right places, because I think we spend too much time trying to find it in all the wrong places. And even you had that situation, as you mentioned, you were with someone for years. And the beautiful thing that I liked what you said is that even though your previous relationship wasn't what you expected and it didn't turn out the other way, you didn't make the future person pay the price. And I think a lot of times what we do in relationships is that when we come out of a bad one, the baggage carries forward, and that next person who is innocent of it all, they pay the price. Do you find that with the women you help as well?
I find that true with myself. Now he paid some prices too. He paid some prices, but I will say that eventually I learned to stop charging him for someone else's sins. In the beginning, I was very skeptical. I had honestly written off relationships from my ex. It was that bad. It was terrible. And I was stuck on stupid. I blame myself for I can't blame the other party without blaming myself. I have to take responsibility because I stuck in it. And so I did come with some emotional baggage, some heavy baggage. And that baggage lasted for quite some time, actually, but he was strong enough and willing enough and compassionate enough to help me work through my own baggage. He helped me heal, which a lot of people are not willing to do, which made me appreciate him even more, especially in hindsight. Like, he didn't have to put up with all this stuff I poured on him, but he saw enough in me that I didn't even see in me, to help me heal. And in turn, I will have been able to help him heal, because women are worse on men than men are on us as far as the emotional component. We didn't realize the trauma we put men through, so it was a mutual beneficial thing. But yes, we do put people through the ringer when we have, previous traumas, but it is a crime that we should not continue to perpetuate. We should allow people to have a clean slate, because that's what we want. The first thing women say is, she did that. Why can't you trust me? That's not me, that's me. But then at the same time, we're looking at him side-eyed for the same thing. There's a double standard there. So yes, we should learn to not charge people for other people's sins. Yes, I agree.